So this one says, I can't seem to save money no matter how hard I try. Hi, I'm 19 years old and just started working for the first time in my life, but I just can't seem to save money. I live at home with my parents and don't pay rent, so I should be able to save. I make about $2,800 per month and I'm always left with $500 in my savings by the end of it. I'm just really frustrated because my mom is disappointed about it too, and I want to be able to save on my own. Has anyone else dealt with this? Please help.
Yeah, I mean, if you're living at home and you're making $2,800 a month and like all you have left is the same $500 that you started with, like, I don't know what there is to be disappointed or frustrated about. Like, you're clearly just spending it all. Like, and you're obviously not budgeting, which that's okay if like, you know, you are where you are. But like, if you're starting to get frustrated about this, I think you really got to start budgeting because your money's going somewhere. And if you're living at home, you don't really have any expenses. So like this person's 19, like honestly, it's probably going towards like hanging out with friends or going out to eat or buying things that they want. And it's always those like little paper cuts that over time, over the course of a month, like they'll eat up $2,800. And I feel like that's probably the trap that this person's falling into, where it's like, I really don't ever spend that much. And their average purchase is probably not like here's $1,000 here or $500 here. It's probably like those $10 to $20 or $30 purchases again and again and again every single day. And before they know it, they have $0 left over. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're kind of falling into that trap, you know?
Oh, for sure. And, you know, be honest with yourself. Are you actually trying hard? Like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? But I think the biggest thing is that I noticed here, it says I'm always left with 500. So my best like savings advice is always to plan it out at the beginning of the month. Mm-hmm. You never want to count on what you have left over to be your savings goals because you're going to spend it all. You know, you're going to go out to eat, you're going to spend random money at Target. So have those savings goals planned out first and then kind of spend what's left. Like this person needs to get on a budget and they should, you know, they're young. I love that they're asking this question at 19. Yeah. You know, I wish I would have asked these questions at 19, you know, but they can budget out like meals with friends or, you know, fun money that they want, but also having those savings goals. If you're living at home making almost $3,000 per month at 19, that's pretty good. And you could get pretty far ahead financially if you can just get your expenses under control and have a plan to do so.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, this person is young and there's definitely some grace in that. And they said this is the first time they're working, probably the first time that they're really starting to understand the value of money. And I feel like if they're not creating a plan for their money yet, like that's the very first thing you need to do. Like you said, you should definitely just like write down your list of priorities. And it doesn't have to be like this strict budget if that's not something you're comfortable with doing yet. Like what is some money that I want to have saved at the end of each month? And then what's left over for me to spend? I think just approaching it very simply, like, here's how much I want to save from this $2,800. Here's what I think is reasonable. And here's how much I can reasonably spend on going out with friends. And it's going to take some trial and error, but like, yeah, like you said, like, I don't think you're really trying that hard because, you know, clearly this money's going somewhere. Like open up your bank account, open up the app on your phone and just see like, what are all the transactions? Like I guarantee you it's probably things that like they could have gone without. And I'm sure it's to have fun, to hang out with friends or whatever it is. But if you're frustrated with the progress you're making, that's what you got to do. Like, I'm not saying you have to do it, right? Like if you wanted to spend all your money, like by all means, like you absolutely should. But if you're frustrated with not making any progress, then that you got to kind of flip around and you got to understand that you got to create a budget first. You got to outline, what do I want to save? How much am I okay spending? That's what like trying hard really looks like, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And if this person at 19 gets this all figured out, they're going to have a bright financial future, which is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, $2,800 at 19 is like not bad, you know, like
it's really good.
Yeah. Like if you just set aside a reasonable amount, you could max out your Roth IRA each month. Like you could, you know, you can start making some real progress on your goals and still like, even if this person saved half of their money and spent the other half, like they're going to be left with like over $10,000 by the end of the year. Like that's really awesome. So, I feel like they're probably trying hard in the sense that they're really thinking about it a lot, but they're not really putting any plan to paper and actually following it. So that's what I would say is like my biggest recommendation is put a plan down on paper.
The information, opinions, and recommendations provided on this podcast are for entertainment purposes only and do not constitute professional financial advice. Any financial decisions you make based on the content of this podcast are your responsibility. We strongly recommend consulting with a licensed financial advisor or other qualified professional before making any significant financial decisions. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that we are not liable for any financial outcomes.